Hello, friends. Today's question of the day: what is the point of all the genealogies that we find in Scripture? You've all heard people kind of use as an excuse for them not wanting to read Scripture. Oh, it's just full of all these genealogies. Well, those of us who actually read Scripture know that it's kind of a small portion of Scripture, but it is there. And we should wonder, why is it there? We know that all Scripture is God breathed from Paul's letter to Timothy, but why did God breathe this? Why did he want us to know it? And I'm going to give you three primary reasons why we see these genealogies in Scripture. The first one is it shows us that the Bible is a historically reliable document. It's a document we can check. And as more archaeological evidence comes out, we see evidence of all of these people that we see in Scripture. The Bible isn't just sort of generically or unspecifically identifying different things that have happened at unspecific times. No, it's giving us very specific lists and orders and chronologies and family histories so that these things can be traced and verified. And we can know that God did not intend this to be a book of disconnected fables. It's a history book. It shows us real history that happened. And we have proof of that history when we can start to unlock the truths within these chronologies. So that's the first reason for the chronologies. Second reason, these chronologies show God's protection and faithfulness of his people. Because what we realize, we get to Matthew 1, the genealogy of Jesus Christ, and Luke 3, a similar, not exactly the same, but a similar genealogy of Jesus Christ. And what we see is all of these genealogies, starting with Adam, have been leading up to this one Messiah who would become Jesus. And God protected that line throughout a lot of stuff. He protected it through the great flood of Noah. He protected it through the exile, multiple exiles of God's people into Egypt and then into Assyria and Babylon, all these different things that happened to the Israelites. God protected that line because that was the line from which Jesus would come. So that shows God's protection and his faithfulness. That's the second thing. And then the third thing we see from these family lines is once we start digging in, once we start looking at the stories of some of these people that we see in the family lines, we see evidence upon evidence of God's mercy and grace. Because God didn't pick perfect people through which he was going to bring his Messiah, because there weren't any perfect people to pick from. He picked broken sinners like me and like you. And he used those broken sinners. And a lot of times we have accounts of their brokenness in the Scripture, and then we see them in these family lines. He used them. He was merciful to them in forgiving their sins, allowing them to be part of his big overarching plan. And not only did he forgive them, but he gave them the grace, the undeserved gift of being part of that plan. So we see so much of the character of God. We see his truth. We see his unyielding, unstoppable plan. And we see his love for his people. And where do we see it? In these genealogies that a lot of people would just sort of throw away or skip over. Don't do that next time. You may get more or less out of it than other people. But think about when you get to those genealogies, why are they there and what can you learn about it each time you read through them? Hope this is a blessing. God bless you.